right, welcome to week one. Here we are. We're talking about what is art, what is visual culture this week. Real quick, I apologize for an announcement that I sent out before that said that class was beginning May 1st. Clearly, it's starting today, May 2nd. I must have just gotten a little ahead of myself there when I put that in there. So here we are, Monday, May 2nd. What we are doing this week is getting kind of an overview of this whole concept of art and visual culture to give us some background information. Now, you've got a lot of reading and lecture material this week because we're trying to kind of pump your brains full of this so that we can get in this art language. So you have some reading. In your looking at art text, I want you to read chapters 1 and 2. This text is really easy read, lots of pictures, big font, small pages. So it shouldn't take you very long to get through this. I recommend that you read that first, and then you read the visual culture, which has just, I want you to read pages 1 through 8 of the introduction, and then read chapter 1 that's also going to talk about what is visual culture. So what I try to do is for the visual culture text, since it's a much more in-depth text and it has kind of, more art lingo in it, I give you a little bit of an outline of what I want you to be looking for as you're reading this. So what is a visual text? That's the biggest thing we're going to be looking at this week. This concept that visual texts are read with the same rigor as a written text, right? We need to be able to read as well as write visually. We need to understand this language of visual culture. It's going to ask you why we need to be visually literate. Pictures can take over where words are not enough, proof through pictures, pictures worth 1,000 words, all these terms that we've heard throughout our lifetime. If we can read it, if we can't read it, then we're at the mercy of those who create it. They're the ones who get to kind of say what's going on. If we don't understand what it's saying, then we can't decide whether or not we agree with something or not, right? Visual literacy is an active pursuit. It's not something that you just learn once and you're good, because as we know, it's constantly evolving and changing. So we need to ask ourselves, should we be reading differently? Do we need to change the way we're understanding the visual world? The printed word actually is a relatively new phenomenon when you look at human history, right? Images have been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It was the first way we communicated with each other. So, it's just to reiterate this idea that the visual is extremely important. In chapter 1, it's going to talk about this idea of content, how we look. It's going to talk about how we look at a portrait versus a landscape versus religious art, for example. Always look for what is not shown as well as for what is shown. That can tell you a lot about what's going on. So I want you to watch the YouTube clip about the Arnolfini wedding portrait. This is an example that they use in the text, so it's going to help you understand that a little bit more. Who was Erwin Panofsky? Panofsky is someone we're going to be talking a lot about. We're actually going to be writing a paper using his ideas on iconology. And he has 3 levels of interpreting iconology: the primary or natural, the secondary or conventional, the third or intrinsic. So I've given you a short lecture on Panofsky that's going to give more detail than the text does, because I want you to really understand this, because we're going to be actually using his 3 levels to interpret a work of art of our choosing. So the lecture is here for you to download in PDF format, as well as being here in the video. Okay, I've also included for you a one-time, extra bonus lecture. This is called What is Art? It's about an hour long, so again, we got a lot going on this week. If you don't want to watch the video, I've included the transcript for you here, and you can just read through the transcript. There are a couple of questions on your quiz that are going to be asking about this. So if you're more of a read-write learner, you learn best by reading something, there you go. If you learn better by hearing and seeing something, you can watch it. I try to engage lots of learning styles in our class. You have a journal this week. They're called Reflect journals, and the discussion boards are also called Reflect, and it's for you to reflect on what we're going over this week. These, I don't necessarily grade you very hard on grammar and formatting and all of that stuff. And there's not really any right or wrong answers in these, because these are really about you sharing your opinion. In other things that we do in this class, I'm going to really ask you to give evidence to support, not to use opinion to write more academically. These are a little more freestyle. So what is art to you? What is your experience with it thus far? Do you just really love art and engage with it a lot? Are you kind of afraid of it a little bit? You don't feel like you get it? You don't like contemporary art? Whatever it might be. This is basically for me to get an idea of who you are and where your life through arts has led you thus far. So I like journal entries to be the equivalent of a page double-spaced 12-point font in a word processing program. Now, you don't have to submit an attachment for these. What I recommend you doing is going into your journal, create journal entry, and then simply copy and paste right here into the text editor. Give it a title, hit paste. Sometimes the formatting gets a little bit goofy, it doesn't double space right. That's fine. I'm just looking for the equivalent of that much writing. I don't want you to write me one short paragraph in this. I want it to be as if you had written a full page double-spaced in a word processing program for these journals. As long as these are submitted on time and they're of the right length and they're on topic, I guarantee you're going to get full credit on these. So these are kind of, easy points for the course. We are going to be beginning our first Create assignment this week. Now I want you to begin work on it during week 1. However, it is not due until the end of week 2. So please keep that in mind. Don't wait until week 2 to start this though, because you're going to get overwhelmed. It's going to feel like it's too much. Do the first half during week 1, the second half during week 2, and I promise you'll be a lot better off. People think, oh, this assignment will be kind of easy, and then they start digging and looking, and it's not as easy as they expect it to be. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just trying to prepare you. We're calling this a mini art cyclopedia. Again, since this week's about building a background of information and vocabulary in the art world, that's exactly what we're going to do here. So you're going to create your own mini art cyclopedia by pairing art terminology and concepts from your Looking at Art textbook with images that illustrate their meanings. Image examples must be from 20th or 21st centuries only. What does that mean? It means 1900 is the earliest year that you can use for this assignment. Don't give me work from 1675, okay? We are contemporary visual arts and culture. Now, each image must be properly cited with the artist's name, the title of the artwork, the date it was created, the medium, and the source. Now make sure you watch that Writing Styles presentation because it's going to go over that in more detail, how to cite an artwork. This assignment, done in a PowerPoint presentation. You're encouraged to use your creativity to make the presentation of this material your own, however you want to design it. So again, done over weeks 1 and 2 of class. What you're going to do is give one term definition and one image example for each term below. There are 10 terms each week for a total of 20, right? Each term definition should include one sentence of how your chosen image is an appropriate choice to illustrate this term. So basically there's 2 sentences per image. One is a definition, one is how your chosen image is an appropriate choice to illustrate this term. And I have an example below. So these are the terms, that I want you to use for each week, and they do correspond with your reading. So here's your example. So this is decorating the environment, public spaces. So what I've said is public spaces are decorated with architectural projects, outdoor sculptures, signs and billboards, painted exterior walls, and other expressions of urban design. These spaces convey a certain image of the city. See how I've defined the term generally. And guess what? I pulled that right out of the Looking at Art textbook. I'm not expecting you to create definitions for terms out of your own brain. I'm expecting you to find the definitions and write them out. So just use them right out of the book. Save yourself a little bit of time. Now I'm going to show you how it's a good example of this term. Disney Hall, for example, tells the viewer that Los Angeles is on the cutting edge of architectural design, promoting an environment of creativity and progress, right? 2 sentences, basically. Actually 3. I gave one little one there. And then I've given the image, and then I've cited it. Frank Gehry, who is the architect. This is Walt Disney Concert Hall. This is what we would give as the title of the work, because it's, if it was an artwork, say if it was Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa, right, would be the title of the painting. This is in Los Angeles, California. It was built between 1999 and 2003. The medium, it's a stainless steel construction. And then I've given the image source. So I've given you the full link for where I found this image. You should be able to click right here on this link and it will take you to the page that has this image on it, okay? Now I've given you some suggested image sources here. So this is the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This is their timeline of art history. So this is a good one. So you could go right to that 19th and 20th century section. I'm sorry, 20th and 21st century section, and browse through those. The Google Cultural Institute, you go to the art project, which I'll actually show you that right now. So if we go ahead and just copy and paste this into a new tab. You want to click on Art Project here. Such a cool source to use. It's going to have, some kind of images that they're promoting at the moment. But what you could do is you could search for Van Gogh. And it's going to give you the Van Gogh Museum or different user galleries. It's going to show you where his art is. So if we go to the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, which is such a cool place to visit, it's going to show you all the artworks that are, housed at the Musée d'Orsay. And what's really cool too is that you can click on an image and then you can use this and you can zoom really far and you can see all the brush strokes. You can move around the painting. So it's pretty cool. You can also, if you click on this little guy right here, if you're familiar with Google Street View, now we're actually in the Musée d'Orsay, and oh look, there's that painting, right? We can walk around. Anything that you see that has one of these dots on it is an image that you can actually then pull up, and again, kind of zoom in on, look at his beard. You can also hit details. It's going to give you some of the information about the artwork, where it was created, where it's housed, all that stuff. Please don't copy and paste all of this into your citation. Do it the way I ask you in the class. It's going to give you, other works that are similar, all that cool stuff. So you can browse through collections, all kinds of stuff here that you can do to find images that may work for this assignment. You can also go to the Getty's website, go to getty.edu and browse through their collection, or MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. You could also go to the Chicago Art Institute is a good one. Anything that's museum websites or academic websites, this is really where you want to look because this is going to give you good quality images that are accurate, have accurate descriptions. If you go to these VanGoghGallery.com websites, there's no citations. We don't know where they're getting their images from, and they might be wrong. Okay, so that is that assignment. Remember, do week 2 of class. So start off, do these first 10 terms. Just do them right as you're doing your reading for the week. And maybe, do 2 or 3 a night. And then you should be in good shape. You also have a review quiz. These quizzes, you have 1 attempt to take them. They're open book, open note, of course. You don't have a time limit. Just know that once you've opened it, you have to do it in that one sitting. They're available to you all week long. Okay, that is week 1. Any questions about anything, please let me know. Communicate with me. And I'm looking forward to getting to know and work with all of you.